Recently, I've been thinking a lot about crime. In one of my recent videos, I kept on saying that all these Pokemon from Gen 1 seemed like criminals or they'd have some rather suspect activities in their spare time.
We were bad, but now we're good.
So that kind of got me thinking, especially with a lot of them leaning towards psychic Pokemon, what other types could be criminals? Which Pokemon are most likely to be criminals? So I figured this would be a bit of fun today, putting my Lore A-level to good use, determining which Pokemon from each type is the most likely to go to prison. Let's find out. Considering that normal type is supposed to be the vanilla type with mostly law-abiding citizens like Snorlax, Chansey or Blissey, that's a surprising amount of Pokemon on the most wanted list. Apparently there have been sightings recently of a sloth attempting to seduce unconsented mates via the use of a strategy called the Naked Man?
I'm doing the Naked Man.
We have Igglybuff, who deserves to go to jail just for being born. Perhaps the most unnecessary design we've ever had. And lastly is Gumshoos. It has a rather unfortunate lookalike.
I'm with you, the American people.
And with all the atrocities he's committed, the only way he wouldn't go to prison is if somehow he ended up as President of the United States. Or had a whole lot of money. Huh. Okay, next up's the fire type. Even if we ignore that most of them would accidentally burn down buildings or melt people's skins off for being the same heat as the sun, looking at you, Magcargo, not too many actually stick out as criminals, other than Ho-Oh for breaking my heart.
I want my bird.
Some may draw attention to Magmar's unfortunate Japanese name, Uba. Names don't determine who someone is. Not everyone called Guy is gonna try and blow up Parliament. Instead, I feel like the most likely to end up in prison is Hisuian Typhlosion. Even if you ignore all those interesting relationships from the Terra Leak that have got contradicts all kinds of conventions, I think it's suspicious that he went from being such a volatile Vinny to being a mellow fellow. I think there's probably some self-medication going on there, and I think he might get caught either dealing or in possession at some point. For that reason, he's the most likely fire type to go to prison. Sorry. Okay, let's not flog a dead horse, let's get Psychic out of the way. A lot of them are very creepy. Hypnotism in itself deserves to be a crime. All of them should be in prison. Let's just get out of the way. It's probably the most unsettling design even 30 years later down the road. Mr. Mime.
Hi, how are you?
It's still just creepy, man. And he just doesn't look like he can keep his hands to himself. So for that reason, he's gonna end up in prison at some point. Grass type, I thought it would be more interesting if I stayed away from the whole grass aspect of it, and I've actually gone with, rather unexpectedly, Ludicolo. This guy, he might be well-intentioned, but you can't tell me that this guy doesn't love to party, and at some point he's gonna get a little bit too drunk, and he's gonna end up getting arrested with little else other than a sombrero covering himself up. So, drunk and disorderly is gonna land Ludicolo in prison, but we still love him, he's a cool guy, so we'll see him on the other side. Another type with plenty to choose from is the fighting type. You can see most of them getting into prison after a pub brawl. If there's ever going to be one that takes the top spot, it's going to be someone with anger issues to rival Mike Tyson. It would definitely have to be Primeape. Just picture this. Couple Primeapes head down to the Ludicolo lounge for a few drinks. They can have a few too many, get into a bit of an argument. Long story short, one's ending up in prison and the other's ending up as an Annihilate. Okay, I feel like with the ghost type, we're almost spoiled for choice. They're literally spooky, scary skeletons and ghosts everywhere, but a special honourable mention has to go to Sableye. This man just loves his gemstones too much. He's been down the country club trying to steal Petunia's necklace. But I've gone with Mimikyu for identity theft. It tries giving you the sob story saying it just wants to be loved, and it doesn't want to suck people's souls if people make eye contact, which is just criminal in its own. Let's be real, it's not after love, it's after the mouse's credit card. Sit down, Mickey. Pikachu is the mascot of the biggest multimedia franchise in the world. Mimikyu's coming for Pikachu's credit card instead. Okay, now we're gonna round out the last of the starter types with water. Now I could go with something obvious like Sharpedo or other predators, or Chloritza who literally carries around a cannon, but instead I can look past the ultimate criminal mastermind, Wooper. Don't let those cute, adorable eyes fool you. It might seem like there's nothing going on behind those eyes, but there is. It's trying to fool you. This thing is a maniacal mastermind. I say about fire types accidentally committing arson. This thing just wants to watch the world burn. The thing is, you'll never see it coming. Hence why, I mean, you might not see it in prison, but it's definitely a criminal. Once again, we're spoilt for choice with the dark type. It's literally called the evil type in Japan. Many of their designs speak for themselves, taking inspirations from crooks, for example, Leopard, Fever, Crocodile. They literally even have etymology in their names based on crooks. Instead, I've gone for a more recent addition, the Flying Sky Titan himself. It's Bombardier. This sadistic little man-child gathers up items and enjoys dropping them from great heights, especially ones that make loud noises. When you consider the stalks are meant to deliver children, you do the math. It's not even like it's just doing this for fun. In Scarlet and Violet, it's literally trying to kill school children by giving them the Indiana Jones treatment. As far as bugs go, they tend to get a bad rap. A lot of people are scared of them, despite most of them being perfectly innocent little creatures. Who isn't innocent though? Sitting right under your nose. A Pokemon you do not fuckle with. It's Shuckle. This guy cooks up his own homebrews of fermented berry juice and serves it out to loads of children. Who does that? Not just handing out alcohol to minors, but you know one or two's gone rogue and has tried spiking people for fun. We'll leave that there. For rock types, we can have honourable mentions like Midnight Lycanroc. God knows what that thing does overnight. Or Tyrantrum, a little dinosaur that probably goes around mauling people. But instead, I've gone for more of a white-collar criminal here. I went with Alolan Golem. This guy looks like an esteemed gentleman who's just been living off a wealth fund his entire life and is probably mates with Jimmy Carr. And for that reason, I think he's gotten involved with a bit of embezzlement, a little bit of tax fraud, and it's not hurting anybody apart from the government's pocket, but he's still going to end up in prison at some point.
I like money.
When the fairy type was introduced 10 years ago, we were greeted with all these designs like Floette and Florges, all these pixies and these elegant Pokemon. And then Game Freak designed this. For those of you unaware, prostitution is illegal in the UK, and so is soliciting for such actions. So, when Game Freak thought it was a good idea to make a plague doctor who thinks she can solicit in the streets whenever she wants, down some back alley with some creepy old gentlemen, what do you expect else to be put on this list? This thing, I mean, just the design itself's a crime, so it's on the list. Most Pokemon owned by Team Rocket or a lot of evil teams tend to have the poison typing, so there's plenty of options here. But instead I've gone for Gloom. Look at it. It kind of just looks like a sex pest. And if you ignore that, Water Lily White over here is definitely cooking up some illegal substances in his basement with his own special sauce he has drizzling out of his mouth. Look at him. He ain't exactly good at hiding it. There's no way the police aren't catching this guy. Okay, for the Steel type, I've gone a little bit off base. Jirachi. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. This thing claims to grant wishes, but instead all it does is just teleport things. Like, Max literally asks him for a simple candy bar, and man starts stealing everyone's inventory from Willy Wonka's finest. Okay, for flying type, we're gonna go with Pennywise's prized accomplice, Drifloon. This cute little balloon literally kidnaps people and carries them away to the afterlife. Sorry, what? And that's not even acknowledging the atrocities it commits in the TCG on behalf of the Guardy Gang, blowing up beloved Charizards left and right. Despite what Edward Sives for Hands has to say about it, I've gone with Mega Swampert. Look at how big this guy is. There's no way he got that way naturally. Who knows what kind of performance enhancing and other drugs he's been taking to get to this state. It's kind of disappointing that this cute little Mudkip got memed on so much for being adorable that he had to turn to this in order to be taken seriously. Okay, so, electric types. Funnily enough, not too many criminals in this area. However, Minun. This thing is simply here for the crime of stealing a deck slot. As if 8 generations worth of Pika clones weren't enough, apparently we needed 2 of them. They need to give it a rest and whack this one behind bars. It could have just as easily been Plusle, but I don't like Minun just because it gives some negative vibes.
Brother, this guy stinks!
Whilst I could have used it for Ghost as well, there's no way this dragon type wasn't ending up on the list. Don't let its movie smile fool you. Giratina is Satan. I don't need to say anything else. I believe we all know the tale of Santa Claus. A big jolly man comes down on Christmas Eve in a big red suit, eats your milk and cookies and gives you presents. What's not to love? Apart from the fact he's breaking and entering.
I'm in big trouble.
For that reason, Daddybird's on the list. This guy isn't even really Santa Claus. He's just dressing up like him. It's creepy, man. Not only that, but it's definitely gonna leave you some unwanted presents in your bathroom. So, it's ended up in the slammer at some point, let's be real. There you have it. That's my full list of Officer Jenny's most wanted for each type. Let me know whichever criminals are still at large in the comments below. Don't forget to drop a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.